You look at dots, individual happenings, they look a certain way, but you start to connect them and you see the pattern.
President Kennedy and Governor John Connally have been cut down by assassins' bullets in downtown Dallas.
A plane has crashed into one of the towers.
Diana, Princess of Wales, has been killed in a car accident.
Assassinations are not just made to happen, they have to be allowed to happen.
What do you think happened with Kennedy?
He was taken out for a number of reasons. One of them was that he wasn't keen on going into the full-blown Vietnam War. If you said to most people, it still is most people, how many buildings came down on 9/11? They'd say 2. Go on the internet and you put in Building 7 collapse or whatever, you will see the most obvious controlled demolition you'll ever see.
There's some people who think that they were drones.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, God, yes. There were 84 cameras in and around the Pentagon, which we've never seen. You look at dots, individual happenings.
The New World Order, the New America. But previous to that, we do have Christian ran families, the Medici, 1,000-year-old families. They sit above the Vatican. The Vatican sits above the financial groups, BlackRock and Vanguard. Vanguard sits above Putin, Kim Jong-un, Biden. And you know who's under all of them? Ari Emanuel, Hollywood. It is the first line of defense for the CIA for mind control.
In 1969, a confrontation broke out between the Soviets and Americans at the lunar base. The Soviets attempted to take control of the base and held American scientists and personnel hostage. We were able to restore order, but not before 66 people were killed. The Soviets were suspended from the program for a period of 2 years. A reconciliation eventually took place, and once again we began to interact. Another plan is in force. It is the plan to prepare the public for eventual confrontation with an alien race. It could also intend to make you believe in an alien race that may not exist. The public is being bombarded with movies, radio, advertising, and TV programs depicting almost every aspect of the purported true nature of an alien presence. This includes the good and the bad. Look around and pay attention. Someone is planning to make their presence known, and the government is preparing you for it. They do not want any panic. The unprecedented number of sightings worldwide indicates that public exposure is not far off. Never in history have there been so many incidents involving UFOs, and never in history have there been so many official acknowledgments. For many years, the secret government has been importing drugs and selling them to the people, mainly the poor and minorities. Social welfare programs were put into place to create a dependent, non-working element in our society. The government then began to remove these programs to force people into a criminal class that did not exist in the 50s and 60s. The government encouraged the manufacture and importation of military firearms for the criminals to use. This is intended to foster a feeling of insecurity, which would lead the American people to voluntarily disarm themselves by passing laws against firearms. Using drugs and hypnosis on mental patients in a process called Orion, the CIA inculcated the desire in these people to open fire on schoolyards and thus inflame the anti-gun lobby. This plan is well underway and so far is working perfectly. The middle class is begging the government to do away with the Second Amendment. The media will convince the American people that a state of anarchy exists within the major cities. When public opinion has been won to this idea, they intend to state that a terrorist group armed with a nuclear weapon has entered the United States and that they plan to detonate this device in one of our cities. The government will then suspend the Constitution and declare martial law. The secret alien army of implanted humans and all dissidents, which translates into anyone they choose, will be rounded up and placed in the 1-mile square concentration camps which already exist. Are the people whom they intend to place in these concentration camps destined to make up the reported batch consignments of slave labor needed by the space colonies?